Yes, we are live, guys. We are live, guys. Good afternoon. Sorry, I was a few minutes late. Hello. How is everyone doing? I can see someone's comments already. How is everyone doing? Thank you, everyone, for joining, guys. Good afternoon from South Africa. My name is Olivia. I'm a Nigerian who lives here in South Africa and I make various contents. I'm sure you will like it here. Please hit on the subscribe button as you're joining. um give this like a thumbs up, okay? And if you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe to our channel, okay? And it's free to subscribe on YouTube, so please subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. Yes, okay, we are live. I just wanted to make sure we are live. Thank you everyone for joining, okay? um Mtutu said something. South Africans don't hold their leaders responsible. Why do we fight them so much? Can't he? And even vote them out. Okay, let's discuss that. Okay, let's discuss that, guys. Okay, that's why we are here. That's why we're here. So that's all the things we are going to be discussing today. I'm expecting my two co-hosts. I'm going to have Beauty on the live stream today, and I'm also going to have Sabza. Hi, Sabza, are you here? I don't know if you're here. And I'm going to put the link on the. I'm going to put the link way early so that people can join in. Okay, so guys, I just want to copy the link. Why am I not able to copy the link? Okay. How is everyone doing? Hope you're well. Thank you for joining, guys. And yeah, please, as you join, give the live a thumbs up, okay? So in today's video, we are here to discuss a couple of things. Why Africans in general don't hold their leaders accountable. Nigeria, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Ghana, all African countries. Those that hold their leaders accountable, do we really hold them accountable enough? Okay, that's why we are here today. And all your contributions will be appreciated because these platforms are to, bring enlightenment, talk about issues that surround us as a people generally. Okay, so that's why we're here. So what do you guys think? Okay, so I want to what some of the reasons why I decided to discuss these things is that because I know as a continent we have a lot of unresolved things that should be resolved. As a continent of Africa, Africans in general, we have a lot of issues, okay? We have a lot of issues. So Nigeria as a country, we have plenty problems. South Africans, maybe not as much, but I'm sure that there are also things to be resolved, things to look at. That's the reason why. And I just want to use someone is already on the here. Okay. I just want to use some Nigeria as hi PH. Let me just 1 minute. Let me just finish before I lose my chain of thoughts before you go on. Thank you for joining. Okay, Nigeria as a people, I would say we all hold accountable, but do we? It depends on to what degree we hold our leaders accountable. Nigeria, if you see what happens in Nigeria, the kind of bills that are being passed, you ask, is this a country that is kind of falling apart and this kind of things are happening? So PH, thank you for joining. Good afternoon from South Africa.
Good afternoon, Olivia. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How is Sweden? You're in Sweden, right? If I'm
No,
okay,
South
you're
Africans
not the
don't
one from
travel. We
Sweden.
don't
Sorry,
travel.
that's okay.
No,
Yes, yes.
we
PH,
don't.
sorry, sorry. You're here in South
We
Africa.
don't need to travel. I'm
Yeah,
joking. I'm
there's this another South African lady. She called in few days. I think maybe I don't know. It's like she lives in Sweden. I know you guys don't travel that much, but one or two people out of you. I mean, it's not bad to travel. So how are you
No,
doing?
no. I'm doing well. Oh, a good Friday. So yeah,
Yeah.
heading to the
Thank God it's
weekend.
Friday.
So thank
Yes.
God it is Friday.
Yeah, thank God.
Last time I was just listening in, and I'm
Okay.
going to combine the different topics that you guys had over these past few days, right?
Okay.
So please forgive me in doing
No,
such.
it's okay.
Um, you were talking about the religion and all sorts of thing, and the mentality of an African,
Mm.
particularly when it comes to religion.
Yeah.
I have an odd, and maybe odd for many people, right?
Okay.
Um, um, but I don't think what Africans are doing is actually religion.
Okay.
No, I believe that there's a tendency of magic, quick fix. So to classify it in the sense of saying it's a religion thing. No, that's really misplacing what religion is, right?
Okay.
There's Africans love magic, you know, things just dropping manna from heaven type of things, you know. So yeah, I mean, let's be frank, Olivia. Let's be frank. The conversation about religion, conversation about religion is connected to, do you know who you are, right? And when
Exactly.
your parents have not actually held you down and said, this is who you are, right? And then can follow up the hierarchy, particularly on at the top of this hierarchy, there is a person, or there is a thing, or however your parents explain it, called God, the supreme God, the superior God. And this individual will not be seen, but, and contextualized in the sense that, do you really think that the whole world could just happen, right? You know, Okay, you
Okay.
are going to have a problem when you learn about God on the street.
So what you're trying to say is that Africans don't really know the true meaning of
They-
religion.
They've not been hurt. Parents are not doing parenting, and that is the problem with Africans. Parents
Okay.
are not actually parenting. People are actually just active sexually, but
Okay.
generally they don't understand what parenting is,
All
right?
right.
So you find out. I mean, if you don't understand, if you've never actually read the Bible, you wouldn't understand that the next person is actually seen as an image of God. You know, you
True.
wouldn't understand such things. So you go on. You have such a lack of understanding of God. You think God is actually material things, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And there's also with amongst my own people, right, where
Okay.
they contextualize mm, poverty, right? They kind of like celebrate poverty and say, it means that you've got a place. I sometimes, it's baffling how they explain it. That
Okay. Do you
poverty.
know what? Can we discuss this maybe after we've touched on what we are talking about today, so that that's why people came. We'll touch about it.
Okay,
We'll talk on it later.
okay, yeah.
Let's
Let's
start from today's
today's
topic. Then we can,
conversation.
yes,
I will,
yeah.
I will tell you. I will tell you the problem here in Africa. Mm, there's just a mindset. There, there was a book years ago which I read by
Yeah.
Bessie Head, a Botswana author. Right? I
Okay.
think it was prescribed for the grade 12s back in the
These
days.
schools. Okay. Yeah. I think I've heard
Called
of that.
Maru,
Yeah.
basically. And the lady mentions it quite nicely, that basically how you are born and things like that. Basically, our future is determined by the environment. You know,
Environment, determinants
the
of behavior. Yeah,
environment.
the first determinant of behavior is our environment.
It's what you are given, what you are working with, and things like that. What do you have access to, and things like that. And I do
Okay.
believe this is an African thing. You see,
Okay.
then you find that within Southern Africa, yes, there are some countries that still are a little bit backwards, right? There is
Yeah.
this environment around here allows us to be a little bit vocal,
Okay.
a little
Okay.
bit understanding in as far as the governance structure is concerned, right?
Okay.
A little bit of there's an understanding that there's public participation, there's NGOs, there's NPOs,
Hi, beautiful.
there's
Welcome.
mechanism. Sorry.
Thank you, host, for having me.
Yeah.
Hi,
No,
beautiful.
sorry. Go on, PH. Yes.
Yeah. So there are mechanism, within the southern African region, to be frank. But what the problem is that you will find that there's accountability, some element of accountability, within the civil structure in South Africa, right?
Okay.
But however, neighboring countries are still kind of like backwards,
Yeah.
They are not as vocal as a typical South African would be. Then you get an interaction where some people will tell you, and I mean, the running joke on social media is that when South Africans are talking and complaining about governance and things like that and all sorts of things, they are being told it's lazy, right? Then it now tells you about that particular individual and where they're coming from. That, this conversation in their own countries is not found. It doesn't found remnants of such, where you expect services from government. There are some countries where, to be frank, they aren't what we call public service, So the question is this: how do you then, accommodate such individual in a country which is quite vocal like South Africa? And wouldn't that now dilute the voice, of where South Africa is positioned to go?
Okay.
So
Okay. Okay. Go on. I wanted to ask a question, but go on.
no, you can. So that I could.
No, are you trying to say that the average South African, um, like they hold the leaders responsible? Because a lot, I've seen a few people. Okay, let's read one or two questions. Ntutu says South Africans don't hold their leader responsible. Like why do we fight them so much, and even vote them out? Tankiso, hi Tankiso. He says, I think as SANs, we do hold them accountable, voting, striking, the commissions. I think we do. Nkwazi says, we hold ours down, even tell them off on their faces when they call us for Imbizo. Ask Cupcake, he knows. Okay.
Okay.
So you're trying to allude to what they are saying.
Exactly. You know what I will tell you, you must also just understand that amongst your commentators, we've got different nationalities, right?
Yeah.
So,
Hi,
so
Sabza.
that
Thank you for
aspect
being
must be very clear.
Okay.
I have my suspicion that I have interacted with Ntutu Guzo, right? The issue here is just migration, right?
Okay.
Basically, to say not holding government and really just looking at it in the sense of migration and all sorts of things. That's not actually South African in that issue. They are basically pushing forward with what they want. The reason why you will find that there are different political parties today who have entered the different legislatures, right? Pushing that agenda. So you must, for somebody who's a migrant and say, don't touch me, go to your government. I don't think that's where we can assess accountability,
Okay.
We need to understand that the person may be coming from the side of, listen, I'm here. If your government has allowed me to be in here, it means you have to go to your government. but doesn't actually want to explain the fact that how did they arrive within the country and things like that. And I will leave it there. Thank you.
All right, just hang in there, PH. Okay, don't leave. Let's hear from other people. Hi, Sabza, thank you for joining. Hi, Beauty, Uncut with Beauty. Please, let's hear from Beauty. Beauty, what is your take on what we are saying before we come to Sabza? We are, of course, you know what we are discussing, why Africans, Nigerians, South Africans don't hold their leaders responsible. What is your take on it? Can you hear me, Beauty? Unmute yourself. You're muted.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, what's your take on it?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Coming from a Nigeria's perspective,
Okay.
I think we do voice our frustrations, right? We do voice our frustrations every now and again. But are we doing enough? Or do we do enough? That's now the debate or the question. As Nigerians, are we actually doing enough? Because we've come to a place where almost everything is acceptable. Yesterday, I saw in the news just before I went to bed that married Nigerian women now have to take permissions from their husbands to travel out of the country. And this was released by, I think, the immigration of Nigeria. And to be honest, I was hoping that sort of development will call for some sort of uproar, or we have women, at least by this morning, you wake up to a group of women out there protesting. But I'm yet to see, anything of sort. But I can tell you categorically, after having lived in South Africa for almost 12 years at this point, that South Africans do hold their government accountable. They do hold their government. And I feel like, I think for the longest time, they just allow things, go by. But we can see the ANC government, working, obviously the ANC government in coalition with the other parties to form the new, government of unity that we now have, is working. They're actually working, and they're actually listening to the people. They can actually, and as much as we would say, oh, some people do not quite hold their government accountable, I think South Africans they do just fine in holding their government accountable. We do also endeavor, we try in our own little way as well, but I feel like as Nigerians, we can do more. South Africans are doing fine, so far so good. They're doing well and they are being heard, because it's not just holding them accountable or being vocal about your frustrations. It's whether or not your government will listen to you. And the South African government, in all honesty, is doing a good job, and we must applaud them, for at least doing their job. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Beauty. Sabza, let's hear from you. Thank you for joining, Sabza. What's your take on the topic?
Okay. Thank you all. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity. Sorry, man. I'm coming from a graduation and I was rushing the time because of my daughter's graduating.
Oh, sorry.
And
congratulations to your daughter. sorry about
yes.
that.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. You know what, Tim? This issue is very big. It's very, very, very big to such an extent. You need to have a bird's eye view in order to understand the whole setup, everything. So when you need to start thinking we need to start thinking out of the box.
Yeah.
Because this situation needs a permanent solution. Ne? Do you understand me?
Yes.
And permanent solution will not take few days or months, This will require some time, even some years, at some point. So if not a lifetime in some instances. So you need to have a strategic plan that will holistically redress the injustices that you are currently, as Nigerians, are facing, and those experienced since those who have experienced in the past. And mind you, while you do so, it mustn't be a matter of fixing everything at once, which is impossible. You know, when you want to eat an elephant, you cannot just swallow it once. You do it bit by bit. Are you familiar with the phrase that says the more things change, the more they stay the same?
Hmm.
Are you
Yeah,
familiar
I've
with that?
heard
You
that
know?
before. I've heard that, yeah.
Yeah. So this phrase actually, what could I say? It means that the huge changes that you often see happens in political space don't represent the real change at all, and are covering up the fact that the status quo in the society tends to remain unchanged. So sometimes politicians or our leaders come up with strategies and plans. We want to change this and so on. Okay, even maybe the society would want to change the government, okay, the president or some ministers, but the fact remains that those changes look huge and big, and you think they make a dent, but actually they don't, because of the situation, the reality, no, at the ground is still the same, you know. So in Nigeria, I went through the history and tried to check and see the reality and everything, what went wrong. An approach of divide and rule was taken, around 1960. And initially, it was implemented to make sure that groups of people are easily governed and power is distributed fairly to the hierarchical bureaucracy. But this was a downfall and a demise of the nation, since they were no longer viewing development as in a common understanding and having a common perception in all matters and sectors of the country. Nigeria, if you look at Nigeria, it's big. It has a huge population.
Yeah, very
But
big.
but the size, it's not that big. Nigeria is almost the size of South Africa. It's just
No,
that South Africa
Nigeria
is
is very big, both in land. You can see the map. I don't know. Nigeria is very big. The landmark is very big, and even the human population. Actually, Nigeria wasn't supposed to be one country. It's supposed to be at least two, three countries, from what
can I
I know.
okay, can I continue?
Yes, please continue.
According to size, I want to differ just a little bit. It's
Okay.
not just a theory or thinking of. I'm talking about the reality, the facts. South Africa
Okay.
is 1.3 times bigger than Nigeria. South Africa, the landscape, geographical, the size, which means if you say 1.3, let me just make it put it simple. Let's just take you said you are in Rustenburg. You take few Rustenburg, maybe, and few others related towns around there, and then if you take those ones, then South Africa will be the exact size with Nigeria. So now I think it's my perception, it's my analysis. I'm not saying that is right or it's wrong, but my analysis, it was subdivided, and it was subdivided bit by bit because of it has 36 states. These 36 states, it's just like you want to create countries, among the country. And if you do that, you want them to be independent and rule themselves, But I don't think it was a good move by then. Although, there were wars, there was civil wars and people were fighting and all that. I think the government, maybe they were trying to mitigate, and curb the civil wars, because of there were more strife then. But now, when they try to put people into groups just like this, then they created more boundaries, not just physical boundaries only, but even the boundaries in the hearts and the mind of the population. Because of now they have to look at you as you are different from me. So you belong that side, you belong that side. So we will never share anything, you see. Then these squabbles, you are fueling it further. So I don't think it was fair to divide it in that way. Just look South Africa, what they did. That's what the apartheid government of South Africa, they've tried to do by then. They wanted to do the same thing. They wanted to group us geographically, But South Africans were very adamant and strong. And they said, no, we cannot, because we are one nation. And if you group us in like that, you want to control us so that we will never have any power, any voice to act, because we are in different spaces. Now, this is a method, if you can remember very well, this is the same method, this is the same approach that was used by the Western colonizers when we were invading our continent. They divided, because it was a divide and rule approach. They divided our continent into smaller pieces so that they'll be able to exploit our resources. So it's not a good move. Maybe the approach, because of the approach that Nigeria has used, is the system that it works for them, the Americans, USA. USA is a continent. It has countries. Though it is a country, then they decided to come up with that system. For them, it works well. But for Africans, I don't think it could work very well, because we have different norms, we have different values, we have different lifestyles. No. So, yeah. But now, when you think of this, it brings people to a point whereby they would think that, okay, if we are in this space, we are confined into this space. Now we have to do things according to our own ways. So now we have to do what we have to do to survive. People lost hope, especially many countries. Okay, but now I'm speaking about Nigeria specifically. They lost hope because of the government is no longer taking care of us. The government, it's there, just as a government, but they are no longer fulfilling their duty, So now they start to say, let me work for my own. Let me look for my family. Let me try and thrive. Let me just do better. So that created something in the mind of the citizens. And from there, it lost all the values of unity and speaking in one voice, the unison. Because of now they are separated. This one is just struggling just to make ends meet. This one is doing his own thing. So you don't care. You understand? So now I think that should be actually something that should be looked, but it needs a strong and a very brave hearts that would say these things we need to look at broader, and we want to make a total reconstruction and development of the country. Because I'm telling you, if you would say you want to hold the government responsible now in this system, the system is completely broken, or maybe if there is no system at all. Now, if you want to fix, like for instance, you want to fix a car, the car is beyond repair. Then you want to say, okay, I want to continue to fix it. I will fix the door. I'll fix the radiator. I will fix this and this. The car is still moving. You will fix it forever. So you need a total construction of that. And for the fellow Nigerians who are out of the country, especially those who are here in South Africa, they are able to communicate to themselves. I think it's high time that now they start to look Nigeria, as in collective, they start to think of how can we try and revive Nigeria? How can we start and do something? Because if you are in Nigeria, you would have difficulties to sit down to have this platform and discuss and all these things. But you are out of the country, so it's an advantage, to the citizens of Nigeria. It's an advantage those who are outside the country. you can start and have forums, you know, start to think and try to come up with something that will start and help, you know, in rebuilding the country. And one of those things, the first one, is to make sure that you speak with one voice, which means you plant the seed of unity among each other. You know, you say you are a Nigerian first before you become a Hausa, or before you become a Yoruba, before you are an Igbo or Biafran or and so on. You are a Nigerian first. So if that spirit can thrive, you can start with few of them. We are here. South Africans, surely they will support if they see that someone is taking a stance, you know, someone is brave enough to say, I will make a sacrifice, I will do this, you know. Help will be there. When everyone start to subscribe to the idea that I am a Nigerian first, I'm telling you, things could happen. But as long as Nigerians are still fighting themselves on their own, because of this thing is psychological, you will never fight the government. You will never change the system, because the system is there and it's messed up and you can't fix it. You need a complete change. And the complete change, in my view, in the bucket of list, I would think of trying to maybe the borders, you know, try to restructure, because of if it was restructured until it came to 36 states, why not you can just to reverse that and group it to make it like, just make, for instance, I'm not saying let it be like South Africa, just like South Africa. South Africa have 9 provinces. You know, these 9 provinces, they are all under the leadership of the central and the national platform, the bureaucracy, the system, you know. So everyone subscribe to that. Everyone is there. And then we speak with one voice. Yes, we have our own issues and so on, but we are all linked. But in Nigeria, to have a system that would say, in your state, control yourself, have your own parliament, have your own government, it's like you are a country on your own, then it's a total mess up. And I'm sure they did that deliberately, although they wanted to, you know, to mitigate the civil wars, the fighting, the tribal wars, you know, tribal conflict. So now I think that the start would be there. First, those who are outside, they have the advantage. You come together, you create platforms, forums, where you discuss this. You said, we have to deal with this. You have your own list. We have to deal with this. We have to create something like, maybe you look at the justice systems. You try, even if there's no public protector, you try to create a ministry of a public protector. You have to think of the media. You have to think of the constitutional review and amendments, because of the constitution need to be amended so that it could work towards the favor of the people, not towards the ministers, towards the government officials, because that is what is happening so far. Okay, that is my, yeah.
Wow, well said, Sabza. Thank you so much. You've spoken quite extensively. Thank you, everyone. Okay, please, as you come, give us a thumbs up, and also share your thoughts on the comment section. And if you want to join, the link is there. Okay, so Beauty, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if I would say that Nigeria runs an individualized system when it comes to the states. I will say that it's still centralized, but I will think that it's still the same way it's in South Africa, the way we have provinces, and in the provinces they have the emirs, right? Well, the MECs, right? And all those political leaders. That's what I think. Sabza, please, just tell me, do you think I'm sorry, Queen, do you think it's different from how it's done in South Africa? Because I want to think it's still the same, whereby all states are still answerable to the federal, which is probably the president. I think it's not the different, because they shared it in terms of, okay, eastern states, there are a few eastern states, and there are few northern states, there are few southwest states and all that. They just, I don't think the problem of Nigeria, if you ask me, okay, it's just my thought. I don't think the issue we have is really, the way the states were splitted, because they are, as I speak to you, they are still planning to split more states. Okay, I don't think that's entirely the problem, because they still answer to the federal government, the president, and every state, the way their representatives, every state have their representative in the House of Representatives and the House of Assembly. Every state still have their senators. Sabza, are you getting me? I'm just trying to explain what I know Nigerian practices. Every state is still represented in the federal, where we have the senators. There are senators from, let me say, Imo State, where I come from. There are still senators from all these zones that are in Abuja, the federal, the federal capital territory. So that's how I think South Africa is as well. You have the MECs of the different provinces. Okay. So, but I think the problem of Nigeria is deeper than the fact that there are states. Okay, go on.
Can I interject just a little
Yes,
bit on that?
please interject. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, remember the system that the politicians by then that they took, ne? First, after 1960, it's not that they were forced, but they wanted to have a system, and it was a British system by then, ne? Remember,
Yeah.
the prime minister. Yeah. But then later, I think, if I'm not mistaken, later around 1960s, 67.
Yeah, 1960. It's 1960, yes.
Yes. So they changed from that. They made a constitutional review, and they changed the system of following the British system, yeah, of having a prime minister and so on. Now they took the model, the USA model. You understand? That is where they wanted now to make it like USA. Do you understand? But they forgot that it's Africa. So Africa, we are different. We have so many challenges, and we have so many tribes and all that we are facing. It's okay, it's fine. Let's just say it's given. The system does not change. It's fine. But now the challenge that look, I'm referring to myself as a Nigerian, but don't worry if I say we.
No, it's fine. I understand you. Yeah.
Yeah. The challenge that the Nigerians, the citizens, the people that they face, it's psychological for now, because of they are still separated, in forms of the ethics, the values, the traditions, and all that. It's unlike South Africa. I'm not saying South Africa is best or good. We have our own issues, as I mentioned before. But it's unlike South Africa. South Africa, if you are in Eastern Cape, there's nothing wrong to be there. You can stay there, you relate, you share, you continue. You can move along, you move to KZN. Still, you'll never experience anything, the difference. You move to Venda, you move to Mpumalanga. It's like there's nothing, there's no difference. You don't see that. Even if a person can ask, oh, okay, I can hear your accent, the language, where are you coming from? Okay, I'm coming from Mpumalanga. Oh, Mpumalanga, good, and so on. But the thing of looking at the Nigerians, it's a bit different and difficult to handle, because of they differ quite a lot, and they take that and they take pride to that I'm coming from this estate, I'm coming from that, so you'll never have a relationship with this one and all this. So, but if these ones, as I've mentioned before, if the ones who are out of the country, let's just say for the start, the South Africans, Nigerians in South Africa, they try to come together and say, let us deal away with our ethnicity. Let us start and rebuild Nigeria. so that we can be able to speak with one voice. If we are saying this is wrong, this must change. Do you understand? Just like now, I heard one of your colleagues from Nigeria, I forgot the name. It's Gloria. She was mentioning that while they were busy trying to fight us, there were some on the tribes. Let's just say, and making an example, the Yoruba. Maybe the Yoruba said, because of this Igbo that side, no, we will not support this and all that. You know, you are speaking in different languages. So
yeah,
the government.
You're talking about the tribalistic issue. I think that's actually the first problem, tribalism. But go on, yeah.
Yeah, so that is why I'm saying, if those who are out of the country, let's leave the ones who are in Nigeria. It's fine; they will have difficulties already. But the ones who are out of the country, I think they have a good platform to say, "Listen, guys, listen, fellow citizens. You're my brother. You're my sister. Let's think about Nigeria now. Let us forget about who we are, where we're coming from, and all that. You know, in a tribalistic view. Let's unite. We want to rebuild, because of now. You think of the future, and I don't want to see Nigeria. I don't want you to see Nigerians in South Africa, and we're having all these quarrels and all this. I need to see Nigerians when they're in South Africa. We stay free. They come, they visit, they go back to their country. You know, it's simple. But now many of them, they are out of the country because of the situation. You know, they are forced with the situation. It's not that they are happy or they're just visiting. You know, they are not in vacation. Do you understand? Yeah. As the health minister says, you have the medical vacation or something like that. Yeah, something like that. So
medical tourism, yeah.
Medical tourism. No, we want to make sure that the country, Nigeria is great. Nigeria was great once, as we have said. I've read this history. I've known everything, you know. So it could take back that status and be the giant once more. For now, it's just that it's still stuck in the mind that Nigeria is giant. No, they're not a giant anymore. You know, that status is long time ago. But it's true that
okay.
Yeah, but it's true when you want to rebuild it, you need to try and adjust in your mind first. You have to adjust your mind. If I think of Nigeria, I'm saying there are a lot of issues that needs us, but it's a good platform that we are out of the country. We will be able to, because we can't do that in Nigeria. If you're in Nigeria, they will kill you. You know, once you start and raise your head above the rest, then they will deal with you mercilessly. They will kill you. You'll be killed. So people are scared not to come out to say, I'm the first, because they'll be targeting. But if you're out of the country, you have a good platform. Just like South Africa, our forefathers, you know, the patriots, you know, the Nelson Mandela's group, Oliver Tambo's, they were out in the exiles, you know. So they were able to try and reform and try and fight the system out of the country. So it was easy for them. So why not Nigeria? The Nigerians have a good opportunity to do that, to say now it's our chance. Those who are out of the country, they have resources, you can try and do something. But first, you start to create forums, you discuss all these things, and then you see that how can we do that? How can we start and voice out this? How can we instill, and plant this into the minds of the Nigerians at home? Yes.
Thank you so much, Sabza. You've spoken well. Let's hear from African Queen. But before we do that, please, guys, give us a thumbs up, okay, and share the live stream so that some people can join and benefit as well. Thank you, Ntutu. Thank you, and African Queen. Let's hear from you, please.
Hi, hello, guys. Sorry, let me switch off my camera. How are you?
We are fine. We are fine.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah,
you.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to be long here. I've got a Teams meeting that's going to take place in 15 minutes time.
All right, that's fine.
What is happening, Olivia, Nigeria is huge in population, but when you look at the landmark, it's far smaller than, I think 3 times smaller than, 3 times smaller than South Africa. South Africa has got a huge landmark. That's why Nigeria is so congested. There is no land for the population.
No, I don't. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you, but I don't know if I can quite agree with that. Do you know we still have a lot of untapped land in Nigeria?
Even if
Have
you
you
can
seen
have, South
what
Africa
northern
is the
Nigeria is
same.
like?
We've got coastal land in
You,
South
you,
Africa.
you need to take a look.
No, but I'm talking of
You need
numbers.
to.
I would like you
I'm
to
even
do your
talking landmass.
Okay,
I'm even talking landmass, right? You know when you say congested, we have a lot of untapped land in Nigeria. Northern Nigeria is probably one place a lot of people are not privy to. You understand? There's a huge landmass in northern Nigeria. Maybe southern, yes. Southern Nigeria, I can agree, but not Nigeria entirely. Southern Nigeria, I feel like is a bit more congested in terms of, I feel like we have a smaller landmass and we're a lot of people and we have to make do with what we have. But northern Nigeria is huge. They have a huge population as well, but
Beauty,
they
let
have
her
even
finish.
bigger
Let's
land.
hear from her. It's fine. You're saying I wanted to say something, but let's hear from her. Then we can take it up from there. Thank you, Beauty. Go on, African Queen.
Thank you.
No fun
You know,
interjection,
Beauty,
yeah.
when you look at the mass, irrespective whether it's tapped or untapped, we are talking about Nigeria as a whole, not the congested area. What I mean by congestion is that Nigerian has got a larger human population, but when it comes to their land mass, it's very small. So whether you guys, maybe there's a reason why you didn't tap on that land. Like South Africa, there is a lot of land that doesn't have any moving human beings because it's either it's a dry land or there is a reason behind it. And then that doesn't make South Africa. South Africa, it's far bigger than Nigeria. When you look at the land mass, it's huge. And even when you look at the top 10 bigger countries, South Africa, it's there, Angola, even Niger. The land mass of Niger is bigger than Nigeria, your neighbor. So
I'm sure a quick Google search can somebody should search on Google and let's see. Let's write it on the comment section. I agree with I was thinking in my mind, sorry to interject, African Queen. I didn't know after Sabza said it and you said it, then I mean I'm Beauty. It could be right, but I'm sure a quick Google search will tell us, on Google, if we ask Nigeria and South Africa, which is bigger in landmass, I'm sure it's
no, yeah, I'm not even arguing whether South Africa is bigger or not. But when she said 3 times bigger, that's a lot. She said South Africa is 3 times bigger than Nigeria. That's a lot.
Can I interject there?
Yeah, Sabza, go on. We can hear you.
Okay, African Queen.
Hi, Sabs.
Hi. Okay, I just want to fix that. It's because I'm not talking about just out of the blue. I'm talking about facts, ne? It's not 3 times bigger than Nigeria. It's 1.3 times, which means it's 1.3, which means let's just say you take Limpopo province out, and if you take Limpopo province only out, then that size, it will be exactly the same size as Nigeria.
Oh.
Do you understand that?
Okay.
Yes, in land mass.
Thank you, Sabza. Thank you for that clarification.
But the population, they are the first in Africa, they have the huge population of 200 and something. I forgot that, but I'll check on Google there because of we have this world population. But it's more than 220. It was like it was 228 million, which means you take 60 million of South Africans, you multiply 4 or 5 times to make the population of Nigeria. So the population of Nigeria, it is the population of USA. Do you know that USA, the whole continent, is 300 million, which means you just only the population, you just only take the population of Nigeria and put to USA. That's it. Finish. But they have the continent. Do you understand?
Okay.
So
Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah.
African Queen, go on. Okay, that's really amazing. You see why these sections are very informative. I didn't know, honestly. Go on, African Queen.
I think even if maybe Nigeria decide to split the area or either the land itself, it's still gonna be a problem, because you must remember it has got more than 100 tribes. Is it 100 or 200 tribes that you guys have? And when you
yeah, that's much,
yeah, when you look at
minority, both minority and majority, yeah.
Yes. So obviously, when the splitting should happen, every tribe, because what I did understand is that most of the Nigerians, what normally divide them more, even if on a common ground where they need to unite. For instance, what is happening right now, like here in South Africa, I'm sure you've experienced that. When an issue happens, we don't even care whether you are an EFF or ANC or MK or Action SA member, or whether you are Zulu, Sotho, Xhosa. We unite on a cause because we want to make sure that we solve that cause. So with Nigeria, remember I normally take it as a civil war when the genocide was happening, where the one that was committed, I think it was upon Igbos during the Biafra War. That was never solved. So you guys, before you can do anything, you need truth and reconciliation. One, as a nation, no third party, only you guys as Nigerian. You need to open up your chest and be open to each other tribes that are also Nigerian, so that you can be able to move forward. Because a lot of things can be done and be said about Nigeria. It's gonna take ages until the young generation, because even those that want to rise, and then before they can get the support, all that they get is that, who is this one? Oh, it's Yoruba. Oh, is this one? Oh, it's this one. You, as Sabza has said, that first of all, I think as a nation, you need to come up as Nigerian first before you are an Igbo or a Hausa or whatever other tribal group it is. So if the grouping can be set aside and look at the issues and address issues as a nation. And when it comes to the accountability, as South Africans, what gives us the liberation, it's because we can speak. We have that platform. It was given to us. So nobody can mute your voice. We've got the freedom of speech in South Africa, which most of the African countries don't have. So that's why it's so easy for us to hold our president, MPs, whatever we call it. I know that you guys, you don't have MPs, but MPs are more or less like, what do you guys call your
Senators,
MPs?
Senators.
Yeah,
MPs
you call
are
them
like
senators.
Yeah.
Because even the government is the federal.
Yeah.
So you
The
guys,
MPs are like the senators.
so you guys never left the ideology that was implemented by your colonizers, which is British. Same applies like the provinces here in South Africa. That's what you guys call states. So that's the difference that it's there. But I think for us with the freedom of speech, not to hold on, because you must remember, if you don't have a freedom of speech, it's not easy for you guys to go out there and speak, because you've got no one to trust. You've got the tribal issues. So whom are you going to trust with the information that you have, which can eventually build the country? So you are scared to speak because you don't trust anybody. I think that is the problem. Accountability, yes, we do, even though sometimes we lack. South Africans, we've got this patience that we need to get rid of, because we are too much patience. We wait up until things get messed up, and then before we take action. And even when we take actions, you must remember, by then we are using our emotions, our anger, everything. That's why it becomes a mess when we took action, because we sit back and digest even the things that we don't like and be like, okay, maybe it will be better. But once we become so annoyed and fed up, the actions that we take are not applaudable, because we use the anger, we use everything that frustrates us to our bones. So Nigeria, it's gonna be a long road for you guys to be able to take accountability and direct it to your president, because you must remember, as we are speaking, Tinubu has got his own people that supports him and like him as it is. And when you try and do the research and check thoroughly, who are these people who are supporting this person, and then you'll find that mostly are the people from his tribe. So tribalistic, it's huge in your country. Here in South Africa, it's something that hasn't shown its head, and we don't even entertain it, because we are even intermarried within each other here in South Africa. I think I'll stop it right there. Oli, I'm sorry, man. I wanted to join, but I've got some other commitments.
Thank you,
I'm just
African
watching the
Queen.
video,
Yeah,
Lisa. Thank you so
you've said
much.
quite a bit. Yeah, I appreciate. Okay, I will just
Okay.
Okay, thank
hi
you, African
Ntutu.
Queen.
Thank you for joining. Please, yeah, what's your take on what we are discussing? Thank you everyone for joining. Please give us a thumbs up, okay? And then I will take it from there. What are your thoughts, Ntutu?
I've missed quite a bit because I was struggling to get into StreamYard.
No, it's
But
fine.
I
I
guess
can hear you now.
yeah, I guess like most people, I would say that South Africans have never given peace to any government. We really shouldn't speak on Nigerian issues because they're for Nigerians to deal with, although when we get angry, we do say some things. Having said that, I think as a continent, we really, let me listen some more. But as a continent, we really need to realize that the power lies in us. Yes, there is interference from outside, but the power still lies with us. You can bring them down to a point where, like in our May elections, where they had to do some witchcraft in order to stay in power, because the population had just said, that's it, we're bringing you down. According to those in the percentages were much lower than what we were given, we were told. So I think we still have the power. We just, I sometimes come a time when South Africans give up on the country as well, because of all the things that are going on right now. There's a sense in South Africa that things are just going wrong, and no one in government seems to follow American stuff. They've had similar issues in the last couple of years, a few years, but more intensely in 2024. And I see parallels with what's happening in South Africa. So, and some countries in Europe. And when you see the chaos in the US, if you spend time in the US, it's chaotic. And the UK, Germany, it's become very chaotic. And I'm not saying this to spite any specific countries, it's just the reality. And so when you look at what's happening in South Africa, you kind of feel like if what the Americans are saying is true, and it applies in South Africa as well, what it tells that is it's actually a very deliberate, I don't want to say strategy, but so there are people in the US who have done the work tracing. They unlike us, they trace things, they investigate, and they get to the bottom of who is behind all of this, where is the money coming from, and so on and so forth. So in South Africa, we have these NGOs. They're not South African. There's one in particular that's been here a long time, and I used to think it was South African. I only found out when Mashaba, as mayor of Joburg, was trying to recapture the buildings that have been hijacked in Johannesburg. And there was this particular NGO that was always like the first. I mean, those buildings are owned by someone that's supposed to be getting rent from them, firstly, apart from the decay and what have you. Someone owns those buildings and they're entitled to get rent from them. The mayor is responsible for fixing that situation. He tries to fix it. An NGO runs to the courts. Our courts have miraculously become very dull for to avoid saying nasty things, but they've become, it's like, really, guys? Are you still thinking? Do you still know the law of your country? Do you still respect the constitution? Anyway, that particular NGO wins every time. The NGOs win every time. And then somebody who knew someone who works there was telling me a story about that NGO, saying, oh, this lady said she's running off to court on this Mashaba thing, and she works for this American NGO. And I was like, they are American? I had no idea. So you have external players that for some reason get involved, and therefore, even if the government wants to fix these things, which I think they have surrendered to the NGOs, you come up against those NGOs. You might very well find that even in Nigeria, it's the same issue. In Kenya, it's the same issues. It's just that nobody has really gotten to the bottom of it. So we can fight each other. At the end of the day, it's diluting the point that I think is very important. It's diluting our societies one by one. That's the bottom line. South Africa, without the unity that it had, we just become powerless, just like Americans have become very powerless. So the people that they bring in, we may sound xenophobic when we say, guys, we need breathing space. Those people will end up voting, and they will vote with the white people. And the people that really want them in are the white people. They have stated even before the elections, they literally said, we believe that undocumented immigrants are an integral part of our economy, and we want them to be legalized. Now, you may say, oh, that's such a wonderful thing to say. No. Never trust those people. What they want is, they know that because we are against people, not you, Olivia, not you specifically, but because South Africans are against this. If I were a Zimbabwean and I got citizenship in South Africa, I would vote for the whites because I know that those are the people that are going to give me opportunities. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, I get
so
you. I
it
get.
dilutes. So ultimately, it dilutes the power of the Black people, which means that the white people get back in power, in the end, we all suffer, including those who have come in from other African countries and voted
You're right.
for the DA. We all
You're
suffer
correct.
because they don't care about any of us, but they will use us. And unfortunately, we've become so desperate. It's been more than 100 years of going through all these things. We've become so desperate that all one can think about is, I need to get there because I'm hungry. And I fear that that's where South Africa is headed as well, whether we like it or not. The likelihood, unless there's a strong revolution, as well as an awareness amongst the millions of other fellow Africans, an awareness that this is leading downhill to the very things you've run away from back home. So stand with us. If you are in South Africa and you are an African from a different country, you need to be standing with us in South Africa. And from there, we gain power. We end up with, how do I put this? So we end up, okay, the Sahel presidents are very vulnerable because there's only, how many of them? 3. But if we decide that we are going to stand strong, we are going to strengthen, and there's a dialogue, which is why I always talk about dialogue between South Africa and Nigeria. If there's dialogue between amongst ourselves as Black people here, and we agree that the issue is not so much hating you, the issue is the danger that we face as South Africans and the danger that we face as Africans. It's not about the DA sitting in Cape Town. It's about the people they answer to. The same people that your Nigerian president answers to, that's the same people that our president maybe answers to as well, but definitely the DA and AfriForum and all of them, they answer to the same people. So the chaos is actually orchestrated. We don't realize this. We are too much in our feelings and in our stomachs. And I don't blame people, except at some point we have to stop being, typical Africans. They don't think. That's what everybody says and thinks about us, that we don't think. At some point we have to step back and be deliberate, just like them, be calculating, just like them. And I hate, my mother hates it when I say this, when I say I hate how African presidents are silent. I cannot understand these people who do not feel anything for their people. I was watching a video of Zimbabweans jumping off the Beit Bridge on a rope. And I'm thinking, they have a leadership in Zimbabwe. I've been in Zimbabwe. I've seen what it's like. They have leadership there. They don't even care. Do they even know what happens to their people in South Africa? And it's not just Zimbabwe. Are they not touched? I know that our president is not touched either. I've seen that. And you can disagree with me if you like.
At least yours is touched more than ours.
No, he's not touched. He knows what to say. And also,
yours is touched more than the ones in Nigeria. Sure.
Can I interject?
Yes, you can interject.
Yes. I'm going back to the issue in relation to what my sister is saying here. Ne? It looks like they don't care. It looks like there's nothing is happening on the ground. Do you understand? It's not that they are not aware. All of them, they are aware. The problem, going back to what I've said earlier, it is the system. You have to, because of they are operating under the system. Even if him personal, he might say, I see this and I can act like this. No, it is the system, that doesn't give him power to do that. Although,
even
yes,
to express, even to express.
Yes, even to express. Just like now, maybe let me make an example. There were fights, recent fights. We have this, what we call this pageant contents and so
Miss South Africa.
Yes, and people need to be chased out and all that and so on. Go back to them. It's all over the news, but they're quiet. It's not that they're quiet. It's a system. Because of what? They know that they have the powerful voice. And if they are thinking on a bigger scale, if I will come out and say, yes, the Zimbabweans should go back home. Yes, now the Ethiopians they are killing our children. Children are dying like flies. They should go back home. The spas they must be closed. They look at the bigger scale.
When you are talking about our president, I'm talking about the presidents of Zimbabwe, Ethiopia, Somalia, Nigeria, and so forth, Malawi. When Malawians, I saw a video and it looks so sad because we're human.
No, sorry, Ntutu, sorry to interject. Sabza was collaborating with what you said when you said the presidents don't care. Then you also said ours don't care as well. Then when I said
you're
ours
responding
don't
to
care,
ours.
yeah, then he was now trying to interject in the situations where he also thought that they would have come in, but they did not say anything.
No. It's dangerous. It's dangerous if ours gets involved in cross-country issues in our favor. It's dangerous because then it adds fuel. I understand why he would be silent.
I think it's political. It's a political thing.
Political, yes.
Yeah, in the past when I remember there was a time when they even stopped publishing statistics by country, criminal statistics, because they were fearing that in those days it was just Zimbabweans. They were fearing that it's fueling hate. So they stopped saying the nationality of the person that had been arrested. So I understand that, and I'm in agreement. But wow, if I were president of Zimbabwe, we've got gold and everything, I would be saying to my people, I feel so sad for you. Anyway, let me stop here.
Yeah, Sabza, go on. You were saying something.
Yeah, yes, I understand all that, ne? But the point is, when people are, because of what is dangerous to every bureaucracy, what is dangerous, it's when people are together. When people are together, they are the strong force and they can do anything. They are very powerful. So human beings are very, very powerful when they are together, which is why the bureaucracy, they don't like that. They don't want that. I'm coming back now to South Africa. You know what happened in South Africa during apartheid? They knew quite very well that these people, when they are together, they are powerful. And we are foreigners here, and we are colonizers. So the strategy, the only option that we have, we have to group them, And if you group them, you rule this part, you rule this part, you rule this part. You understand? But now, my take here, my analysis is, people need to come together. We need to find a way of coming together, to become a force, so that they could see that really when you are together, you speak in unison, then things could happen. If you are in one voice, things can happen, and they don't like that, which is why they are making sure that they separate us, they group us. Now, coming to the point of being controlled by the system, it's a system to them. And even if the person comes and jump in and said, yes, I have good intentions, I want to change the country, but there, when it's in the pot or in that room, you'll find his colleagues and everything said, listen, we are working with the system, so you listen to us. You listen to what we say. You are not the president. You are a president, yeah, but you represent us. So we have this and this and this and that. You are the mouthpiece. You just talk. So every country, most countries in the world, presidents don't have power. You think they have power? They don't have power. Tinubu will tell you that I'm going for a health tourism. Maybe he was being called somewhere, maybe in UK, to say, hey, come back. Please keep the people unleashed. Yes. Please keep these people there. Stay the way they are. Even if you want to try and say, you keep them because you lose something. And then he doesn't have a choice, and you can't come out public and say, yeah, sorry, man, I'm also controlled. There are people that are telling me to do this. There are people that comes out and tell me, let me give you the 50 kg of rice. Then when I give you the 50 kg of rice, then it's done. Then Tinubu comes and implement it. The people will be silent. Do you understand all these things? Even it's hard. Even in his
Question.
heart, he knows that this is wrong, but he's helpless. There's nothing he can do. It's a system.
So what you're trying to say, in essence, which I agree with you, is that most African presidents have their people in the West that they're answerable to.
Yes, it's true.
Most of them.
Most of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Not only the presidents, even the kings. Do you understand? There are areas whereby there are kings, and these kings, they're just kings. My neighboring king is here in Swaziland. What is happening in Swaziland? He has everything. Everything is running right for his household. But what about the country? And he is answering to what? To UK, United Kingdom. There is Lesotho. What happened to Lesotho? Lesotho is a country within a country. That is what I was trying to say. If you want to keep people or to depress people, especially with the resources in relation to that, keep them where they are. So Lesotho fight is not that it was Lesotho. It was UK. It was the British who fought that, hey, listen, you are here. You don't agree this. So now we have a country within a country. You see, this is what they want. Actually, they would have wanted that. And that would create maybe a state or something, that you've got your own state, you've got your own state, control things, you have got to, it's your house. Do whatever you want there. Don't come to this one. This one is your enemy. Then now you start and look South Africa and say the enemy. Now you say Lesotho, it's somewhere, there are other people, but we are one. Africa is one. It's one nation. It's just only the tribes and all that, but we are one. You understand?
Exactly. That's why too Niger will always say that those people, like the last when he came on the live one time, he was like, those people are being controlled. And I agree. I've heard this several times, that most time, as much as, like, I would just want to use Nigeria as an instance, we are colonized and we say we have gotten our independence. But if you look at what happens in the country and the kind of support they get from the West, you see that they are still under the shackles of the West. I don't know which country, both America, British, all of them. They always. That's why they want to. I was listening to a podcast that said they want Africa to remain the way Africa is, because they know that Africa is a very strong continent. Africans are very strong and resilient and smart, but they are using their leaders to suppress them and make sure that they don't bloom and blossom the way they should. Because if they blossom and bloom, we'll be asking questions: where are our resources going to? Like Nigeria, that we have oil and we don't know where these oils are going to. If we have say the way we are supposed to have our say, we'll be asking so many questions that they may not be able to answer. That's why they are like, I think another tool is poverty. They're using poverty to hold us down. When it comes to education, we are getting education, but when you're poor, when a country is poor, sometimes there are some things you will not do because you're poor, and people that should speak are not speaking. A few people that are speaking might just be, I'm using Nigeria as an instance, they'll just be, okay, come to my side, take this, and they'll not speak anymore. So it's a problem it's an African thing, honestly, especially Nigeria and some other African countries, that things, they are being held captive by the West. I will say that, because if you listen some things that, I don't even want to go so political, because let me say Nigeria, for instance, if you listen to during when we are having our presidential election, most Nigerians did not want the present president, and we are thinking that the West will come and support us to give us who we want, but they did not. They will just leave us after the president won that mandate. How, if people say it's a stolen mandate, allegedly, I don't know, but when after immediately you won, I think was it American president that said, oh, congratulations to President Tinubu. And
you know why I'm
laughing.
You know why I'm laughing?
Yeah.
I was watching that whole process, and I remember this one lady that came to Nigeria from America to handle or manage or whatever the what do you call it, the campaign of the current president. And I happened to have been watching when she was running for something, so I knew who she was. And I just thought, oh my word, the fix is in. That's the expression they use in the US. The fix is in. As soon as I heard that she was in Nigeria, like, why would someone come all the way from that country to another country to come and manage the campaign of a president? So I just knew that this guy is going to win. And the whole history was being told on YouTube by American YouTubers who were doing research. And like, you know, when you, what do you say in English? When you hold your head and you're like, oh, no, please. And so when he won, it was just like, yeah, well, they did the same thing in 1994, and we now know here, and we now know that it was stage managed because they were the ones who were running around with our leaders and everything. However, Sabs, I had a question. Now I'm almost forgetting it. But a less important question is, why do they stay? Are they threatened that if they, I mean, I wouldn't want to, I know that those presidents who refuse to do the things either get unalived or become demonized and what have you. I just don't understand. If those boys could stand up there in the Sahel and stand firm, I just don't understand why some people seem to be enjoying being our leaders without leading us. That's something that came to my mind when you were speaking, Sabs. I don't know if you have an opinion.
Yes. My sister, you know, the way I see all these things, you are quite correct. If they are there and they're occupying the seat, but they are not being productive, they are useless. We take them out. But you know what's happening? It's all about the whole system, which is what that I want to go back to the issue. If you can remember very well, when we had Ola, so not Niger too, Ola. He mentioned, yes, he mentioned something like, the white person study the way you think. What are you and all that? You understand? And it takes time. He's impatient because he knows that he wants to be above you. He wants to control you, you know, and he wants to keep you leashed. Now the point here it's about the whole system, you know, the whole system, because of if you look this person and speak this, just like now I'm saying, let's collaborate, and then we South Africans and the Nigerians who are here, and then we help Nigeria so that Nigeria could be free. Those who are listening out there, they will always be step ahead, you know, just to think, okay, these people are planning this, and I know this is very dangerous. So what can we do? We have given them rice, and rice cannot help. Now, let us just do something. Maybe we're going to give them rice, and then we're going to give them the status of owning a land. And then I'm desperate. I need to survive. I would think it's a victory. And they look at you and said, yes, you think you won into this. You didn't won. Because of this is broad. This is bigger. That is why I say you'll change the whole system completely.
True.
You understand? Once you try and act on that level, make sure that you are prepared to sacrifice, because this will take time, even some years. If you can remember quite very well, here in South Africa, we are South Africans, my sister, then you know quite what's happening. From 1948 to 1994 is 46 years. So it took us 46 years, especially the leaders. They sacrificed their life. Even Nelson Mandela said, we as the group, we are ready to prepare to die for that. Because of what? Because of we know that it's a future. You don't have to think of here, now, and then. Understand? You want to fix this, you want to fix this. No, you have to look it holistically and think of a plan that will change everything, you know. It might be radical shift, but you need to think deeper and said, if I fix now, what about my children in the future? Just like I'm saying now, Nigerians are there. Nigeria will fight now. Okay, we want to. Okay, let us take Tinubu out. Tinubu is useless. I'm making an example. We take Tinubu because it's useless. We put another president, but we didn't take out the system. The very same president I'm gonna put is gonna follow on that one.
The same people, exactly.
The same people. So it's like the big change that you see. It's not a big change. You know, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah, you've spoken to my second question, which was about how South Africans, Black South Africans, made the country so ungovernable consistently that they had to give in. But like you were saying, they just gave political freedom and opened up positions. You remember the whole campaign around creating a black middle class and calling us black diamonds. And they stated that the creation of the black middle class was so that there would be a buffer. So the black middle class are a buffer between them and the great unwashed black masses. And I have a feeling that it's the same in every African country. The people that really want change are the ones that are suffering down there. The ones that talk a lot on X and everywhere else against change, because we have something to protect, which is our riches, our BMWs and what have you. We don't particularly want a revolution, and so we become the security guards on behalf of the system. Yeah, you addressed my question, because I was thinking, if we were able to put so much pressure that they ended up giving an inch, what stops us doing it again? But then the issue is sacrifice. We are no longer prepared to sacrifice.
We are no longer prepared to go all out. Exactly. That's one problem. I will say that is actually the issue. This exact point is one of the problems Nigerians have right now. That's why it boils down to why we're not holding our leaders accountable. Why we are not actually yearning for this revolution that we've all spoken about here today. People are no longer willing to, give up their life, because if they look at the situation, is either I get unalived or I won't be given opportunities, and people are just like, okay, I'm done, I'm selfish now. Do you understand? Which actually at the end of the day, it's not going to help us, but people are choosing them now. What can I do for now to just be safe and keep going every day?
And
what do you guys think?
Create wealth. And create wealth for my children's children.
For myself, my family, my descendants, and grab people, the ones that are in politics that have the opportunity. People are like, let me grab as much as I want. I don't even care about the well-being of others. What are your thoughts on what Tankiso said? Do you know we don't have a permanent chair in the UN? Does anyone have an idea about that? I should think that the UN, every continent should have a permanent chair. Is it possible that we don't have a permanent chair in the United Nations?
It's true.
Yes, it's true. It's okay. Sorry, my sister.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we don't have a permanent chair, and I don't think we will have a permanent chair.
Wow.
Because of why? Listen to me. Because of why? Our house are not in order. The Global South. Our house are not in order. So then when our house are not in order, how do we expect them to respect you? How can you expect them to listen to you if you are failing? You understand? So they will never, it's like they don't respect you. It's like you are a laughing stock. They are just doing just like USA have done now. They thought that, okay, let's include the Global South now. They are meaning African. Now we want to be part of that. But we don't have the right of veto. You understand? Because they will never take anything that comes from Africa It's like
Right.
Africa, it's only resources that they want. You are useless. But if
Mm.
our house were in order, I'm telling you, our voice would be heard. Just like what South Africa is doing. Do you know, as South Africa is setting an example here. I'm not just praising ourselves like we are better, but it's setting an example here that you stand up for issues. South Africa now is standing for those who are oppressed and then those who are undermined. You understand? Now, an example, the Palestinians. It's not only the Palestinians, but all that gives something to that big organization, to UN, that okay, these people are serious and we can take them serious, but we are just alone. If Africa were standing together and said, we want this is what we are, but now South Africa is just alone. Do you understand?
Exactly.
And,
And that's very funny. Why are other countries not, supporting South Africa on these mandates, on this
instead they were
particular
scolding us.
Palestinian?
And
Do you
instead
understand?
they were scolding us.
Yes.
Who do you think you are, South Africa? This and that. And sorry, Olivia, to this point, instead of getting together and fighting for veto power, I imagined that every country is now like, we are the ones who must get the permanent chair. So that's the next question. Who amongst the 54 countries gets the chair if they give it to South Africa?
Does it matter who gets it? Does it matter?
Shouldn't, hey? But the thing is, not every country is prepared to fight and risk. I mean, it's a risk. That thing with the Palestinian thing, it's a risk. They could very well, retaliate. It helps that we have their people living and owning the economy here. Maybe that gives us a little bit of a safeguard. But if we get somebody who is going to, or a country that it doesn't have that strength, then they are going to be told how to vote in the veto. You understand?
Now it's okay. Add something into what you're saying. Now it goes back to the point that we have been saying, that these people, they don't have power, just like you're saying now. They receive incentives somewhere, and then if you want to lose those incentives, then do the nonsense. Try and do the nonsense. Now you'll see who we are. Do you understand? Then people, they become afraid that, okay, what now? I remember one of the I never mentioned that one of the countries said, wow, South Africa tells USA that, hey, we have a diplomatic relationships here. You give us and we also give you, and you can never tell us that we have to stand down. We have to stop, continuing with the issue of the Palestine. Do you understand? That you see the mentality, how it is, because of we are afraid and we are unleashed, and then when we are unleashed, it becomes so difficult. It's not just we are unleashed, really, it's psychological. But South Africa, what is South Africa says is that, no, I continue with that, and South Africa so still continuing with that. They will never. South Africa says, you will never tell us what to do. This is what we want. This is what we stand for. Continue with the nonsense. Then America came back and said, what about Iran? So you lose something from Iran. As if Iran, we have a relationship with Iran. We don't have a relationship with Iran. Listen, the minister, they told them that, what? You're saying Iran going to cut ties and all that. We don't have ties with Iran. There's nothing that we get from Iran. You understand? So you see that they instill fear. They instill fear to us. Then thinking that Africa is still the Africa of yesterday. Africa is not the Africa of yesterday. It's not that it's psychological. We are still trapped. We don't want to think out of the box. But now what I'm saying is, if we want to hold them accountable, we will never target the presidents and all. It's about looking at the system holistically. What can we do? But I want to support what you have said, Olivia, that we are afraid. As I've mentioned before, that everyone now in the corners thinking of his own life and says, as long as I survive, as long as my family is okay, let me try and build it. Because of, to start that, to be like Nelson Mandela, It's a tall order. I can't risk that. So people don't want to go that route again. They say, no. And they know, people know that this will take some years, and I don't have years. I have only 7 or 10 years to live, because I'm going to die the next, how many years, do you understand? Then they calculate that and say, well, they will see. So people are afraid. But being afraid will never help us. Do you understand? Just like as I've said, Nigerians being afraid will never help. It will never change anything.
And selfishness, not just being afraid.
Yes, it will never change anything.
Yeah, because not just being afraid. Our problem, sorry to interject, in Nigeria is not just being afraid. I think we've become a little bit selfish to an extent. Yes, selfishness is okay. It's a defense mechanism, actually, but it's to the detriment of the country, because things are really deteriorating. Things are really deteriorating. Africans in general, but especially Nigeria. The selfishness is on another level. And as much as fear, it's part of it, and selfishness, because it's actually selfishness, like like we discussed the other day. It's what will make you just leave your country and say, okay, I have the expertise, let me go out elsewhere. But at the end of the day, we are still being victimized, because when we use all our expertise and go to the West, I think that was, if I asked my husband, that was the reason why he actually came to South Africa, when he said, okay, it's still Africa, it's still home, kind of, although, I don't know, things may change in future, but because if you go to the West and, go and give them your expertise, you're still enriching them with human resources. You're still enriching them, with our skills and our talents. So it still boils down to being enslaved. So, but it's all about selfishness. It's a tool. It's a tool that poverty is one of the tools, but selfishness is what we as Africans, as Nigerians have. That's the reason why we are just kind of complacent. We are not asking questions. Okay. If I don't want to talk, I don't want to be blacklisted, I don't want to be unalived, I can't go down that route. I'm also
But
selfish.
You're not the only ones. You're not the only ones. Even here, remember I mentioned how they deliberately created a black middle class, like deliberately, and that was to create that exact situation where you have a class of black people who become selfish. So the only problem with it is we don't think about the future. I was happy to see during the election period that there were a lot of people who were saying, I'm okay, but I'm thinking about the future. My children and my grandchildren are going to have to live in a dysfunctional country in the years to come. And that is the reason why I am becoming active in campaigning for change. And I think that's what's missing, not only in Nigeria, but across Africa, and to an extent in South Africa. At least it's still fresh with us. We still remember the 80s and in the 90s of struggle. And so those who were in the struggle are still able to say, I don't want to leave a dysfunctional country for my children and my grandchildren. And the way things are going with this government we have, it's going to dysfunction. So I wish that, but then at the same time in Nigeria, it's easy for people to just leave. It's not easy for us South Africans to leave our country for whatever reason. It's just not something we aspire to. Even when you do go overseas, it's like, nah, I want to go back home. And so maybe that's why we are more invested in the country. Maybe that's why we are less likely, we're more likely to say, I don't want to leave a bad country for my children. But in our dialogues amongst each other as Africans, we need to keep talking about these things, because nobody else is going to fix it. It's only us. And I wish, when the sister earlier on reacted to the issue of how big is Nigeria versus South Africa, I was like, this is exactly what we do. There is a core point that was being made, and we get bogged down in detail. So if we collectively can learn to fix our minds on what is the problem that we're dealing with, and
what is important? Yes.
what is important, and if we can collectively, including us South Africans, if we can learn to not be affected by the insults and just focus on, listen guys, all these insults are not making any. Yeah, anyway, I'm dreaming about us not being affected by the insults, because as I'm speaking, I'm thinking about someone who was showing us in a video, American Swiss, and saying, these are your jobs, they're going overseas, you're not beneficiating. It's going overseas for beneficiation. And it hurts because we've been fighting as a country. Our government has been fighting to keep the diamonds and the gold and everything here and add value before it gets exported. And then someone comes and uses that very thing they know is a sore point, because we failed to stop them exporting our minerals. And someone says, yeah, you see, these are your jobs. And it hurts. It really hurts. But at the same time, we need to learn, teach ourselves, train ourselves and each other to focus. I'm gonna have to go. Oh,
please, guys, give us a thumbs up, okay? Can you thumbs up on the live stream, please? Yeah, we are not thumbsing up. Please, thumbs up is free. Thank you, and subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. Yeah, sorry, Mtutu, what were you saying?
No, there's just one. Somebody asked the question why Africa doesn't have something about Africa in the UN. So and said India doesn't have either. So Asia does, Europe, and so on. Africa is the only continent that's not represented in the Security Council.
Yes, even if India doesn't have, Asia has, so they're still part of Asia, right?
Yeah. Okay, I've spoken enough.
Thank you, Mtutu. You're so join us next time. You always do, but yeah, come on more often. You're very insightful. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I will. I finally figured out StreamYard.
You did, right? Okay, that's good. So you'll be joining more often. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sabza, what do you have to say to what she said?
No, she has spoken quite very good. I corroborate what she's saying, because of, when you think of Africa, and this is the platform, we speak, we share ideas and so on, but it shouldn't end here, because of that let us down. Yeah, we should take these ideas and use them. Just like, for instance, I've mentioned something like, okay, when we discuss here, our fellow brothers and sisters, out of the country, they must try and do something with this information. It doesn't help that we talk and talk and we talk and we do nothing. But the start is good. It's good that we talk.
We are talking and creating awareness. Yes, because talking, social media is very powerful. It's more powerful than we know. Yeah. So I agree.
So now, if now going back to Nigeria, saying now, it's a point that I've mentioned earlier, that instead of focusing on these things like, okay, you need to protect your image and who you are. It's good. It's natural. It's who we are. We are human beings. You understand? Like Beauty have said, okay, I'm making an example that, Nigeria is big and all that. But the truth is, it's not that. But that's not the point. The point here is, it's not a shame to see that, okay, let me look beyond what I have and try to fix, because of these people, when they are bringing all this, like these platforms, the South Africans, they are reflecting. It's like they are a mirror to say, look who we are. And then when you see the mirror, you don't go to the mirror and say, hey, mirror, you are quite wrong. The mirror said, you have got a spot here in your collar. Go and take out. You don't correct the mirror. but the mirror is there to help you. You understand? So all what we are saying, everything, even the things that are negative, the Nigerians should sit down and say, but why is it here? What happened? Why did we land here? How did we arrive here? Because of everything was okay then, but we are here now. So when you start to reflect and make an introspection, you will see that something is wrong. And the whole world, and including South Africa, they cannot be wrong. The whole world cannot be wrong. And then you are only the right person. So it tells you that, okay, I must do something. But now I just want to say, my fellow sisters and brothers, from Nigeria and the other countries, what is happening here in South Africa? It should reflect, and you should be able to digest it, assimilate it, think it through that, no, it can't be right. There's something wrong with me here. There's something that I'm do, to make life goes forward or to change. You understand? So a wise person would sit down and said, okay, they are talking this, even if they criticize, even they speak nonsense and all that, but they are saying to me, there's a message behind, an indirect message that telling me that something is wrong here. I must do something with this. So now maybe let me just say my take or my recommendations or concluding to this. I wish to Niger and the Ola and the others were part of this discussion because they are powerful and they are there and we appreciate that. So if they can use this this opportunity, because this is an opportunity to try and think through that, what can we do? I'll just make an example. Let's just say to Niger or maybe Ola is the ones that I know. They started said, let me mobilize all fellow Nigerians. And then it's private now to say, please guys, let us discuss this. We create a forum, we discuss all our challenges. What brought us here? Why do we have to be in this position? Why do Canada still speak the same language? Why do Europe speak the same language? Why do Malaysia still speak the same language? Because it's all over. Let us try and do something. There's something wrong here about our country. Not the people. I'm not talking about the people who are doing the wrong stuff now, but I'm telling that they are doing whatever they are doing. The source of the problem is in our country. Then now, what can we do to fix this? We need a complete reconstruction. Do you understand? So let us go back to the basics of I want to change the country. And if you want to change the country, you have to sacrifice. Luckily, you are outside the country. And then we are still living, still continuing. Some they have got their own families here. But my brothers and sisters and uncles and aunts are there in Nigeria. So then I need to fix the future, their future. And to fix the future, it starts now.
Yeah.
And then there's no shame to say, South Africans, we understood you. Canada or China or wherever, we understood you. We have heard you now. Now we want to change things. How?
Yeah, please from somewhere.
Yes, please help us. I'm telling you, South Africans are very dynamic. South African are a different nation. Well, it's easy for us to change to say, okay, now you admit that, you see that is a problem. Then how can we help? And then you said, okay, we are facing 1, 2, 3. Please help us. I'm telling you, things can happen. We are there. We would support. Anyhow. Yes,
exactly.
That's my yes.
Exactly. Well said. At this point, yeah, we need we need to, I think South Africa is a good example because they have restructured their own system once upon a time. As much as we may think as Nigerians that we have restructured our own system once upon a time, but it was just we gaining in so-called independence that we think, but we've not really done anything dynamic to say. But as a country, South Africans have done it, and I think you guys are a good example and people we can look up to, and people, it's a good what's it called, a good suggestion. We coming out, I think a lot of Nigerians are really agreeing that things has to change, but the point now is how to do it. Like you suggested, starting from social media, starting from mobilizations. People can mobilize things from all over the world with the world of today. I can be in South Africa, somebody might be in UK or anywhere, and create a forums where we can discuss and have a map out plan on how to go about it. That's what you said, right? Which is
Yes.
good. So at the end of the day, if we want to round off to say, are Nigerians holding their leaders responsible enough? No. South Africans, yes, to an extent, but work needs to still needs to be done. Other African countries, what would you say for other African countries? Rounding off, are they holding their leaders? Because it's not just Nigeria and South Africa are not the only countries in Africa. Sabza, if you're asked to say, as regards to this topic, what would you say about other African countries quickly before we round off? Are they holding their leaders accountable as well?
Actually, I don't see it. It's the same. The whole
Okay.
African countries is the same. So I would also say to the whole Africa, because of when we speak here in this platform, we talk of Nigeria, but actually it's not only Nigeria, and
Exactly.
we hope that the other nationals, they were listening and hearing that they could take something out of this, because of it applies to the whole continent. After all, we are all Africans. You've got a black hair. You've got a red blood. We are the same. We've got our own cultures, but somehow we share something together. We do things like that. Then why not? Can we try and do something to change the whole continent? Which is why I'm saying that those who are here in South Africa, let them try and focus on how can we rebuild our countries, because of they are not in their country. So that's the opportunity. If you are out of the country, it's easy to mobilize.
Yeah.
It's easy to come together, to have that collective ideas, and plans, so that you can go forward.
Now you're speaking about other African countries, right?
I'm speaking about the other African countries.
All
Yeah,
right.
let them learn from this. Let them come together, create forums, be organized. Let them be organized and try to do something about their country. Because of, as I've made an example, South Africa, just like you've said, is a good example. South Africa, here there was apartheid government, and then what happened? The government exiled the organization. Then the organization is out of the country, but they didn't say, I'm here now in Zimbabwe or in Zambia or in Malawi, whatever, let me just live my life. They said, this is our opportunity. Let us mobilize, let us sit down and think of how can we change the country. And they made it, and it was possible. It was done. So it is possible.
It's possible. And ask for help if possible from your brothers from other African countries. They will help. Why not? We help South Africa, we help South Africa. Ask for help now. South Africa will help you as well. Exactly.
Yes, true. Yeah, that's true. When South Africa needed help, Nigeria came out and said, okay, guys, we're gonna help you. And even some of the officials, and including the ministers, those who are working, the working class, the middle class, they contributed money, that is why I feel pain that Nigerians contributed money. They deducted money.
2% of their salary, yeah. I remember.
Do you understand? So all that, it should ring a bell to say, now you are here. If you had said, our country is burning, now we need your help. South African will never say, don't worry, we'll mind your own business. We are minding our own business. No, South Africa will be there, will help. Not just only, I'm just making an example of Nigeria, all the countries. Do you understand? South Africa is there to help. Do you understand?
Okay, that will be our next topic. Let us ask South Africa for help, guys. Let's not be shy. Oh, Two Nigeria is here. Two Nigeria always jumps in when we're about to round off. But that will be our next topic. Two Nigeria, welcome, my brother. You're always jumping in when we're about to round off. How are you doing?
Yeah, greetings.
Greetings.
Listen, yeah, thank you for having me. I mean, you know, I keep chasing shiny objects everywhere, like some.
Stop chasing shiny objects.
Elijah.
So,
Focus. Don't chase shiny objects, please. Whenever
oh,
you see the notification, any topic that you need, we need your input. Please just jump in, and these things
thank you.
are. Yeah, thank you so much for joining.
Mm.
What are you listening in? What's your take on what we are saying?
Yeah, the last one I had was about whether if Nigeria needed help, they should ask for help from South Africans. Um, I think the title is quite important because we don't tend to hold our leaders accountable, at least not the way we are supposed to.
Okay.
Like in Nigeria, they have these no bad governance protests, but not asking for anything specific.
Exactly.
It's like they didn't learn any lesson from what happened with the NSAS protest. The NSAS protest had specific demand, and they got it before the protest ended, before the so-called shooting that everybody remembers now happened. The government considered everything. They said they were going to disband the NSAS police. They are going to have them prosecuted. Everything they considered to everything. And for some reason, people miss that lesson. I see this in our culture quite a lot, where for some reason, it's almost as if the people that redirect the lessons are put up to doing it, or is it just our way of looking at things? Because I looked at that same event, I said, the Nigerian government gave these people everything they wanted. If they go on and say, we want our electricity, we want our this refineries working, we want our security fixed, just pick one thing, go out there. And the thing is that the media supports them too, but they don't do it. There has never been. Do you know that there has never been one protest for all Nigerian refineries to come on stream? There has not been one protest for national security, one major one, not one.
One major one.
There has not
So
been
what you're
one.
trying to say is that we should be asking for one specifics, one thing at a time.
Yes. You can even ask for 3 at a time, but make them specific so that because you tell them end bad governance, what does that mean? They are not going to know what to do. This current president, no matter how bad it is, one of the things he says is that he's willing to engage on anything, but they don't ask for anything specific. Anything you tell them to. One of the things that they tend to ask for is we want a constitutional conference to talk. So the one they had in 2014 is not good enough. That one went and recommended that we should go back to Oyibo woman written national anthem. The crazy people, you go and have a constitutional conference. The thing about constitutional conference is that the moment you come out of it, you will see somebody that doesn't like it. They will just come and I hate this constitutional conference. We just agree to because it's not good for me. It's never going to be good for somebody. So that is something you can do on the side. But in terms of national security, when your people are being kidnapped, your farmers can't go to work, everything is getting torn down. You can't even go out and say, you know what, you promised us you're going to recruit people into your the security services. You promised us you're going to train them, but you didn't do any of them. They don't hold them accountable directly on specific promises that they've made. And that is at the core of the Nigerian state right now. And when they were going for this protest, and I said it, and I said, if you just go for this protest with this type of demands, it's too wishy-washy. You have to have specific, concrete ones. And the truth is that everybody in Nigeria supports all these things I just said. But yet they never go to a protest and demand these things. North, South, East, West supports it. But somehow Showore will come out and say, NBAC governance is the key. Nigeria is losing $50 billion every year on average because of insecurity alone. If you sort that one out, they steal our this electrical this in towers, our electrical infrastructure. They are stealing it. Everything in Nigeria is up for theft because there's no security to protect them. 30 to 40% of our police force, they are being used to protect VIPs. This is actual numbers. 30 to 40% of the police force in Nigeria is being used to protect VIPs. So who is left to protect ordinary people? And nobody is coming out and saying, you know what, we'll focus on one thing and bring the government down on that one, let them fix it. And I believe the government will do it. Because the government, they are scared of Nigerians. Nigerians outnumber them heavily now. Nigerians are completely outnumbered. They don't have a lot of people to protect them. Then just come at them. So I just think that we need to be more specific. And African countries, they need to learn from that too. You have to be more specific when you demand from your leaders, because when you do that, everybody's united on that issue. When you say end bad governance, people will start thinking that you're after the Yoruba president, you're after this thing. They start thinking all kinds of different things. But if you tell them, if it is something specific that they all feel strongly about, you will see them now. Nigerians will bounce out. They will start
I
coming
agree
out.
with you. Because since after the end SARS, there's no more SARS in Nigeria, right?
None, not,
Yes.
it's gone.
Because it was titled End SARS. End
Yeah.
SARS. End police brutality. End now said end bad governance. It was those three titles. But end SARS. SARS was actually disbanded, and there's no longer SARS today. So you're right. Do you know it was actually the when you said this particular thing, the last live stream, that I thought, I'm like, okay, that actually happened though, because before the end SARS protest, there was SARS and they were committing all those things, but we are not thinking about it.
Well, and you know what they tell people every time about NSAS? I wonder why people do that. They will come and tell you that, oh, they shot people at NSAS, they kill people at NSAS. Like, that's all you think about. You don't see the accomplishment those people accomplished. Do you know how many people that have died because of lack of security from then till now? All you remember, those people made a sacrifice, that they made sacrifice to better people's lives so that those young people are not getting harassed anymore. Can you imagine if you went out to protest on behalf of security? Nigeria is losing thousands of people every year. Kidnappings every year. We're losing $50 billion every year. There is nothing more important than that. If you had gone out and said, you know what, we support our military, we support our police, we want them to be resourced properly, we want them to be given recruit more people to come and support them. Who is going to come and shoot you? You are protesting on behalf of those police people. You are protesting on behalf of those military and security services. They are some of the most powerful institutions in the country, but yet you don't see anybody coming to fight for them at all, to fight that the nation should be secure. I don't understand why we don't do that. And I think this is also true for many African countries. They don't go for specifics. In the UK, if you want to go and protest, who cares about protesting for bad governance? They protest for specifics. If it's either war or is either cost of living, one specific cost of living, it's always specific. Whenever, like when they say Black Lives Matter, it's because of black people, specific. There is no, it's not wishy-washy all over the place. You can't just make wishy-washy demands.
You can't just make vague demands. Because if you make vague demands, it won't hold water. Like what Ntutu is saying, this comment reminds me of how South Africans keep confronting Ramaphosa over his promises to build 1 million houses till he was forced to respond and try making excuses. At least, do you understand?
Yes, yeah.
You remind the government, you say you're going to do this, so what about this? You said you promised us this when we were entering. What about it? We want this, we want not, give us everything together. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and if you stay on it, like that 1 million, this thing, if you stay on it, some media channels focus on it and say, if you don't do this, we are not going to let you rest. We will keep shouting this from the rooftop. You will see that the government will be like, okay, enough is enough. We need this thing sorted out. Otherwise, these people are not going to let us rest.
Exactly.
You have to pester them. It's like everything else. If you don't show you are worthy of listening to, they will not listen to you. They're going to listen to the foreign partners telling them what to do.
True.
That's how I see it, and I really wish that our Nigerian people, they start understanding these things. I just saw somebody talking about how Showore should have handled this thing. I look at when I look at the demand that Showore wrote, I was like, why is he writing some of demand? It's so wishy-washy. Nobody is going to look at it. Nobody's going to, in terms of refineries or energy. This he was like, the Nigerian government should reinstate. I can't even remember the grammar he spoke. He reinstates so and so and so. It's like not demanding for what people understand in their head is our refinery is not working. Is there anybody championing it? There is nobody. That's all they see. If our electricity is it there? Is there anybody championing it? They don't see anybody. They just see people saying we hate corruption. We want good governance. That's all they hear people say. It doesn't mean anything to politicians. Politicians get confused because they will say, this one will say, oh, they mean electricity. The other people will say they mean security. They will just leave it. They will just leave it. They will like, nah, there's nothing they are demanding. Nobody is going to meet them on the street and say, end bad governance. Have you done it? Because that's going to be, even the person will be confused. What are you asking for specifically? What did I do wrong now? That's what they are. That's what they are going to ask you. But
Can
if,
I interject?
yeah,
Can I
go ahead if
interject?
you want to. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. Go on.
Yes. I'm not sure whether you had an opportunity to listen to the whole conversation, Niger, too. But if not, I think you can go back and watch it, because of it, you didn't have time to be part of the group. Go back and watch. We have explored many facets. We try to go deeper, So now I think that will also help. But I've just only one question now. Is it not possible for you to start to be on the forefront to say, I want to organize my brothers and sisters who are out of Nigeria? I want to start something now. I want to start a movement or some sort of, although not formally, but we discuss all these issues, And then if you start to discuss all these issues, I think that will be a start of change. Because of what you are saying, it's good. That's what I've mentioned before. I've said you need a holistic approach. So the holistic approach, it's something that will make a reconstruction. It's a reconstruction and development of the whole systems, so that the country could go forward. But at the same time, what you are saying is correct. When you see the problem, identify it, and make sure that everyone knows that, which means the government, make sure that they know this is the problem that we're having for now. But at the same time, it's like I take it like two pillars. The other pillar focuses on these issues, and then the other pillar is the one that will make sure that the whole system is completely changed. Because it's not something that you can do it and fix it now. It might take some years. Maybe I've made an example that South Africa, it took 46 years to change the whole system, everything completely, to make it right. But now you have to look it on two these broad aspects. You know that you've got these things, the issues that you are currently during the process that you are dealing with, and then you do it like you have said. But at the same time, you want to make sure that we can't continue and then identify this problem they fix it, identify this problem, and you think that you're going to win. You need to change the whole system, because of the whole system, it might be like it's not working for the Nigerians. Now we are talking about the future of your cousins, your brothers and sisters, and your children of your sisters and all that, you understand, in the country. So yes, that's my take. So it's good, and I'm able for your contribution. But as of now, I would just place on your hands that, is it possible for you to start something? And Olivia's laughing and think, oh, now subs are saying what's up. No, I'm trying to just to take that responsibility. Let's say I'm studying. We have technology. So it's not that difficult, because of you will be able just to mobilize your fellow Nigerians and said, please forget about being a Yoruba or what. You become a Nigerian first before all this. You see, then from there, then when they subscribe to that idea that I'm a Nigerian first, those who have subscribed, you push on out of the country. Forget about those who are in the country. They will not be able to do that. But those who are out of the country, they have power. And we are here. We said, anything that you do, whatever you want, we will support. We are there. We will share ideas. We will share whatever. You just come down and said, please. It's just like you what can I say? You swallow your pride. You said, forget about everything. I have this challenge. I say, once you start to admit that I have this challenge, this big elephant, and I need to eat this elephant and complete it. But you can't finish it at once. It's impossible. You need to do it bit by bit. So that will take time. But don't worry about that. You know that you will be building the future of your sisters and brothers in Nigeria. Yes, that's my take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me say something. Perhaps that this particular activism is a calling. It's not everybody that has the calling. Everybody can be an activist, actually. If you ask me, I feel that where we are starting is from discussing those that have it inside of them can pick up the mantle. That's what I think, because like everybody, maybe his calling is to identify what it is. Someone else calling is to pick up and make the group. My calling may be create a platform. I think it's diverse, but the most important thing is that we are identifying the issues and we are talking about it, and those that have it in them, like the guy we call Very Dark Man, he has the calling of activism. That's what I think. So, Niger, what do you think regarding
Yeah,
what he said?
I think it's a fair comment. Whether I should be trying to organize people. Um, one of the campaigns I'm leading, generally, basically, most people don't talk about this, is our national security posture, which are found to be extremely weak, that needed to change. And this current government promised that they were going to do something about it when they went to Chatham House during the campaign, but they've not done anything. I don't see any level of recruitment that they promised. I don't see any change in security posture that they promised. So those are the kind of things I wanted to push for, and I did approach a few channels that in total they number about 250, 200 or 40,000 subscribers or so, or maybe about 200,000. And I did approach them and said maybe we should have like monthly campaigns for specific goals, so that it will be amplified. Because if all the channels are demanding one specific thing from the Nigerian government, maybe the Nigerian people will hear about it and then put pressure on their leaders to do those things, because it's something that they promise themselves. Because they know that we have that problem, but they are not acting on it when they get into office. They pretend as if they don't exist, but they always act on the awful, evil plans that they have. like the floating in Nigerian currency and removing fuel subsidy. That one they act on it, but when it comes to national security one, they pretend as if they didn't promise anything.
Yeah.
So I feel like that one, I can this thing, do that. I can at least do that.
That's
Um,
easy.
and the idea behind it is that, like, sometimes in Nigeria, what you tend to find is that if you have conversations with people, they get too much into personalities. Like because as you can see the way I talk, I tend to talk very, very kind of as if I know everything. I'm very, very straight to the point about the issues. That I don't care about personalities much. So if you come out and say something, whether you are right or not, they don't care. They will just block you and say, "Oh, you are just talking nonsense and all that." So many of the times you hear people even arguing against me that we don't need more security personnel in Nigeria. It doesn't even make sense, because you are sitting in many of these people are sitting in Western countries where they make a call within 15 minutes, security personnel will show up at their house. But when you say you want that for Nigerian environment, they start to make all kinds of excuses. So, but I can organize people, and but if you want to do anything greater, you need resources, which I'm dedicated my own resources to other things on the ground in Nigeria right now. That doesn't necessarily involve political activism. So that is part of it. If I've said it now, if I had the resources, all this stuff, we all know what the solutions are. We all know. I know what the solutions are. If you want to start changing things on the ground, you have to start forming alliances with different institutions in the country. I will have a relationship with the police, the military, the secret service, the NGOs, all of them. You have to be on the ground, just like the politicians are on the ground. You have to compete with them on every front, the airwaves, everywhere. And if you win the argument, you reveal to the people that their security is a big problem, because 3 Nigerian presidents are in London right now. If you have that, is a security risk for the country. If they don't understand that, if you let them understand that their oil refineries can improve their lives big time, if you let them understand that electricity is going to improve their life, if they buy into that, the government are in trouble. They have to then do it. If they don't do it, people are going to remove them. Because once you change people's mind, it's very hard. It's really very hard to turn them around. The government cannot turn them around except they fulfill what the people want. tell somebody that it is a good idea to eat food, then, and they also know it, that it's a good idea to eat food, the government will never convince them it's a bad idea to eat food. So that's how you have to convince people. And the problem is that the people don't know. They know since that something is bad, but they don't know exactly what to go after. That is the problem. You have to have a kind of message, an ideology that they will follow. And if they have that, the government, initially, they will be begging. They will be begging to fulfill it. If they don't fulfill it, they will be removed. That is what I believe.
All right. Let's, Tunaja, sorry, hang in there, please. Let's hear from PH. PH, you came back, just rounding off because we've spent over 2 hours here. I need to get, yeah, please
Thank
round
you so
off.
much. Thank you for the
yes.
opportunity. Wanted to ask to Niger. You know, I've been obviously, I'm taking the, I've got quite a few questions, really, you know, specifically about Africa as a whole, right? Whether individually or so, but more as an African. You know, I've noted the other speakers here, the ability to kind of always blame Westerners about the people we appointed, you know? I don't get that, right? So my questions to Niger are these. One, can we be very honest? And I'm willing to be corrected here. The majority and the highest number of killings in Africa happened before the Westerners even arrived. We had tribal wars. We need to be very frank about the border issue, right? Because people are just, you know, taking it from the context that there was unity. We have unrecorded, you know, unaliving of people because Africans did not keep stats, right? In as far as tribe to tribe type of wars, right? So the issue that unity or somehow in whatever context people are explaining it, are mentioning it, we never had that. And to actually think the Berlin conference and how they came up with the structure was that they realized that there was already an existing war, tribe to tribe, conquering of other tribes, right? And then from there, we can find a solution. But the difficulty that I also have is that as a South African, I don't want to lie to other countries in Africa. The South African issue was totally different from other countries, what they are dealing with. The fault line in South Africa was that the natives, my people, were fighting against the foreigners in the white, you know, race, right? So the fault line was not internal. So to assume that, South Africa stood up and all sorts of things, and, you know, let's look at simplifying a very difficult issue. When you are dealing with the monster inside the house, right? And I'm using the monster for lack of a better word. When you are dealing with your own, right? It's a difficult matter.
It's more difficult, yeah.
It's much more difficult because you can't now. Tribalism is a difficult animal, you know? Here we were
So
dealing
what's your
with...
question exactly to
My
Niger?
question is this. One, do you think that the fault line in as far as Africa is concerned, because I follow quite a lot of Nigerians, right? Sites and things like that. And you will see that the top topic is really about Japa, how to get into, whether it's Canada, Australia, US, the fastest way, what must one do, and all sorts of things, right? Do you think that in doing that, those that are left behind will be able to find solutions? And how do we then organize the whole, a better place for Africa? How do we find a better place for Africa when, you know, and I'm generalizing, right? When, and Nigerians' top priority is that the next generation they have must have a different passport, right? So then you find that in that order, you now don't have the population, the necessary skill set actually to resolve things, because what has occupied people's mind is, listen, and my feeling, right, just from the listening to the different channels and things like that, is that the population that is left within Nigeria, right, it's because of lack of finance at the current moment, right?
Yeah.
People are
And
trying to get their
yes, if I
finance.
want to interject, sorry,
Yes, sir.
PH, if I want to interject, I'll bring it down to what we were discussing earlier. Because of the situation of the country, and people have resorted to, okay, let me look out for myself and my immediate family. Okay, what is the way forward for me? Okay, let me go to the US or have my child in the US, and my child will at least have a dual citizenship. So it's kind of a situation whereby people have now lost confidence in the system, and they are now, all about themselves. It's a survival strategy, if you ask me. But if you're asking, is this particular survival strategy that we have, come about with as a people, is it going to help fix these problems? No, obviously it's not. But I mean, it is what it is. To Nigeria, what do you have to say about that? Guys, I
Um,
want to round up in the next 10 minutes. Okay.
I
Yeah.
think the
Thank you.
jackpot thing is a two-edged sword. Right now, the edge is actually cutting in our direction and is doing a lot of damage in terms of we are losing some of our best minds, and we are basically going to serve other people. I don't know if you saw the Adiola video the other day when she was asked interviewing a health minister of Nigeria,
Yes, yes,
and
yes. I acted
you
on
can
it.
see his mindset. This is the problem. His mindset is about fulfilling healthcare professional needs for foreigners, when his total mindset should be how to make Nigerians this a healthcare system the envy of the world and all the rest. He's very focused on sending people overseas, and then that kind of mindset is not different from how some of our forefathers were so happy to send people into slavery, because they don't understand that those human beings are your best assets, and you have to try to cultivate them within your own environment, because they are not doing anything to create a nice environment for them in Nigeria. So they might as well send them overseas and hope that someday a miracle will happen and they will come back home. That strategy is a very, very risky strategy. We've done it before for the last 200 to 300, 400 years, and look at where we are today. They tend to think that just sending human beings away to other people's land somehow means that your chance of survival will increase. It's a very dangerous game. And I don't know, and it's a lazy game too. In other words, you are pretending to have your people serve other people constantly. You breed your people to serve other people, and you
That's
expect
why, sorry, that's why South Africans will always say, go, you guys should go and fix your country. Go and fix
yeah,
yourself.
it's a fair comment, and if I'm to address the point she made about us blaming other people, it's not, the way I look at it is that there are different layers of responsibility, or in more like accountability. We are ultimately accountable for everything we've done. Everything, our interaction with the British and all the rest, we are accountable for it. It doesn't matter what what they've done to us. However, if you're analyzing an issue and you know that somebody's taking advantage of you, let's say you have a house, you are responsible for the house, for security and all the rest, then you have an arsonist come and set fire on it. Are you going to say, because I'm responsible for the house, the arsonist is all good? No, the arsonist is also a problem, but it's just a lower level problem from the point of view of your ultimate responsibility for that property. You have to deal with that arsonist. So that is the way if I'm looking at the influence of some foreign partners of our leaders, that's how I look at it. It's not like I'm looking at it like they are inherently evil. If anything, they are doing exactly what they are meant to do for their people. We are the ones not doing what we are meant to do for our own people. We create a vacuum and we invite conquest. Do you know? I've actually researched this. I asked a question about, if you have a big nation, that big nation is economically weaker, big nation is militarily weaker. Does that over time, does that nation get conquered, and or does it get totally controlled by the stronger nations? It turns out that that is the fate of that nation. There is no other fate for you. In other words, the way Nigeria is right now is designed to be taken advantage of, which is what we are seeing. And eventually, another form of conquest is going to happen again. You can't create a vacuum of weakness and you expect some other person not to take advantage of it. It's not their fault. It's just the way of nature. I said it before. There is no use of an antelope pleading mercy with a lion. The balance has already been decided long time ago. It's not the lion's fault. It's just that if the antelope doesn't become the lion or a dragon, forget it. That equation is already balanced a long time ago.
So you're saying we are destined to be like this?
No, we are destined. We have to become lions or a dragon. You can't remain weak in this world and you are inviting problem. Americans understand that. Europeans understand that. They say if you want peace, prepare for war all the time.
Can I interject there, to Niger?
Yeah, go ahead.
Going back to the point that I've said, you are now concurring with what I've said, that really to change the situation in Africa, we have to change the way we think about ourselves, which means we should be prepared to sacrifice. Now, if you want to build the future, you need to make sure that I sacrifice myself. I don't mind anymore about myself. I know that I'm not going to win now, but the future will be bright. Maybe it will take me 30 to 40 years, or even I will die during the process. I don't care. But because I'm preparing the future, the next generation should be quite right. You see, so to change from being an antelope to become a lion, it's a struggle. It won't just happen, just like that. It will not be a book of roses. It's you to make sacrifices, you to stand up and act. And if we have discussed it earlier, that people don't have energy now to fight. They don't have they are just now looking at their own lives or own families, and that's it. They don't have energy. But now someone must have that energy. Yes, someone must say, no, I need to change this because of, will this situation remain forever just like that? It's a problem, and it can't be like that forever because of the influx. The people from other countries, Nigerians, will come to South Africa. Then South Africa at the end will find itself just like Nigeria. Once again,
so
you see.
Let me interject to sorry, Sabzak. Let me interject to Niger. Do you think at this point in time it's safe to ask South Africa for help to help us restructure our country? Do you think it's safe to do that?
I'm not even sure South Africa is in any place to help anybody at the moment, because they too are facing their own challenges. And as a matter of fact, if South Africans think they are in a place to help somebody at the moment, they need to rethink that. There's a lot of forces coming at them right now, and because if you look at their movement towards BRICS and this in the West is coming for them one way or the other, and and you can see the pressures already. Their institutions are beginning to fail with the power supply issues and this in stuff that is going on. And there is a lot of sabotage. Yes,
the issue of power supply has stabilized for some time now. But go on, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny when the BA or the DA is in office right now. You have to watch out. There's a lot of this in war of division or sabotage that is heading South Africa's way. If they go further and further to undermine the West power with the BRICS, there's going to be a problem there. In the context of Nigeria, in terms of turning into a lion or a dragon, that's what I've been advising them. You have to start changing your security posture. Nigeria is not a garden where they don't have protection and you are relying on Oyibo people to protect you. Clearly, they don't mean well for you. Look at the poverty we are in. We don't have good electricity. Look at what is happening in the Middle East recently. I will say one thing about something else. Recently, there's something going on in the Middle East where Israel was supposed to attack Iran back. And within 1 weekend, they had a tremor, a tremor like an earthquake in Iran. And their suspicion was that it was a nuclear weapons test. And guess what? Have you seen any attack yet? They are busy negotiating. They are worried now. Because when you are strong, nobody messes with you. They are careful. You don't mess with the strong people. And as Africans, we never did that part. We keep arguing about everything else. When survival should be at the top of the food, your reasoning. If you don't assure your next generation of survival, then everything else is up for grabs. And history has shown us that. Let me say one thing. You know, I was listening to a historian and a very, well-educated man. He's reading several books. I'm sure maybe you know him, Dele Ogun. And
Yeah,
he said something about this in Azikiwe, that Azikiwe studied political science in the UK, and just before Nigeria became independent, and because of that, he was like studied a very, very taboo subject, and they tried to ostracize him, made life very difficult for him in the government, or in terms of being able to hold office in Nigeria. Then later on, he gave up. He said he gave up and said all he wants to do is just enjoy his life. You see, what he said there was basically something that indicates that, okay, Nzikiwe gave up to the Europeans and all the rest. But what I heard there was somebody that thought he had a choice. That is the problem many Africans have. We don't understand the dangers because we don't see it of what conceding. Because why would you not give up to just enjoy yourself? You will give up because you don't have any reason to. Would you tell a Chinese man that just experienced a Japanese brutal invasion in their country to give up? They will never give up because they have seen it. Their eyes have seen fire. They will never give up. They will like, no, me give up. I will die first because I've seen thousands and maybe millions of our people die. Would you tell Russians after they watch 27 million of their citizens die under Hitler to give up on their future?
So tonight, closing, rounding off. What is your take then? One minute, everyone. I need to get my
yeah.
dollars.
Let me do it 1 minute. So
Okay.
we have to change our security posture. And in terms of the topic, if you want to hold your leaders accountable, you have to make specific demands and make serious noise about it until they concede to what you want. And you are more likely to unite everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sabza, closing word. 1 minute, please.
Yes. No, that's the same thing that I was saying, that if Nigerians or even other African countries, they want to make change, actually they should stand up. Actually, they should make sure that what they are saying, they convert it into an action. For now, we are just talking. There's no action.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah.
action.
So
Yes.
for me, if I want to say something, I will say that we actually get a strategy. Like you said, we are just talking. Look for ways to go about these things. Honestly, that's it. We need
Yes.
change. That's one thing. We have identified that we need change, and we need to ask for specific things. Then we need a structure to go about this change. For me, next topic we'll be talking about South Africans will come in and ask how South Africans actually went about it. We'll ask South Africans for help. We'll just talk about how we can ask South Africans for help and how South Africans are going to, even if the help, of course, help doesn't mean, fighting. Strategies. People will talk how, during the apartheid, they've done it. We need to do it. We need to actually look for ways, okay? That's my take on this, guys. We must stop running away and face our leaders, according to, we must stop running away. That's one thing a South African will always tell you, don't run away, face your leader. That's the next topic. Join us, guys. To Niger, please join us again, okay? We'll be discussing something on the line of this on Tuesday. Sabza, please, everyone, if you can join, that would be appreciated.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. I'll
Thank
try
you.
to avoid chasing shiny objects. It's just what it is.
Please don't chase shiny object, my brother. You don't need to be chasing shiny object at this point in time. They say if your house is on fire, you don't need to be chasing shiny objects. Anyway, that's light.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Okay. If I may ask, Olivia, at what time? The same time? It's 12:30.
Yes, around same time. 12:30.
Okay.
If you're free, just join us. Yes, on Tuesday. Thank you so much, everyone. African Queen, thank you. PH, thank you. Who else joined the live? Ntutu, thank you. Thank you, Beauties Eden, my co-host. Everyone, I appreciate you. Please give this live a thumbs up. If you're not yet subscribe and share this, okay? I will really appreciate it. I love you all. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you to Sabza. Congratulations to your daughter.
Okay, thank you.
Sarah Olivia said congrats.
Okay.